Hello everyone, my name is Binesh and welcome to today's reading vlog. I am reading A Court of Silver Flames in this reading vlog. It will be very detailed and will of course have spoilers, so if you want to avoid it, do make sure that you not continue watching this video when the vlog starts. Before this vlog starts, I want to tell you a few things. I finished the book like a week or more ago and I did not film because I was just so invested in reading, and then things happened that were boring me so much that I did not even want to talk about it. So I just read and the book finished, and well, I did not film. Why is it adult? Like, what is even in it that makes the book adult? So for that, my answer is going to be the intimate scenes. The intimate scenes are so intimate and so detailed. They're extremely erotic and graphic scenes. Of course, I would not suggest anyone under 18 to read this book, but for those of you, those innocent readers who read 𝘰𝘭𝘭𝘺's first 3 ACoSF books unintentionally, not knowing anything about it because those books were marketed as YA, if you developed a taste of naughty 𝘮𝘭𝘭𝘺 scenes, there's not going to be any judgment here. So feel free to watch and comment about anything that you think we agree on or disagree on. I would like to know. For those of you who for some reason loved all the previous ACoSF books and are a big fan of, well, let me tell you, I really enjoyed this book. I think I enjoyed this book the most of all ACoSF books, but by no means is this vlog intended to offend you. It's just that I'm gonna be honest. I did not like any of the previous books. I did not like any of the characters in the previous book except for the bad boys, and do not judge me. It's not because of their wingspans, it's just because of their dialogues and sense of humor. It was just amazing. I even liked more. I definitely want to give credit to Sarah J. Maas for improving her writing. Her writing has improved so much. So many people who loved the first 3 books of ACoSF, who were the die-hard fans of it, hated it, and I was surprised because I loved this book the most. I know that I rated it 3 stars. That's the most that I've rated an ACoSF book because the first 3 books were rated 2.5 or below that. So that's improvement on the author's part. So without any further ado, let's get into the reading vlog. And today I decided to do a reading vlog on a book that I decided I would not read. Yes, you hear me correct. And finally I decided to go with it. My friends are reading it, they're excited about it, and I know that in future if I ever decide to read this book, I will not, because I would lack the motivation. I would miss buddy reading with them, and I would miss ranting about it all with them, and it's none other than the new book by Sarah J. Maas called A Court of Silver Flames. I hate the protagonist in this book. I hate that girl. No matter how many perspectives you give me of her being positive and her being nice and her being, like the reasons for why she is what she is, like, I am so not buying any of that perspective. I don't care. So far, I have only read the prologue. I hate her writing style. I hate it, and I read the prologue and it was, Nesta was feeling this, Nesta was feeling that. Nesta decided, oh my god, he did this to Elaine and he did this to Cassian and he will pay for it. I mean, bitch, just, I don't care. I am so excited to read it. I was so not excited to read the book, but I am excited to read it with my friends. I am going to read this book and rant. I just told Nesta that I thought that you must change the sheets between visitors, and she's like, is it any of your problem? I mean, how can you not? It's gross. I could never imagine myself saying this, but I like Nesta now, and I'm hating Feyre so much. I'm hating her more than I hated her in the last 3 books. And I am not liking Rhys anymore. I mean, I loved Rhysand in the previous books, but I'm not liking him now. What is this? Feyre is now acting like a bitch queen. Rhys is acting like a submissive king. Obviously obvious that Cassian and Nesta are going to be mates, so do not want them to be mates. I wish at least someone in this book loves another person without being a mate. It's been 3 chapters and I already somehow like Nesta. This is not happening. This is very silly, and this is not even something that people talk about, but I love this because Cassian makes me like him more and more, and he makes me want to slap him hard, like too hard. Nesta just said something, she was cursing, and he was like, "Who taught you how to curse?" And she said, "You lot." And then he gives her an amusing look. I mean, slap that man. To the people who look at an SJM book and give an amused look, the amused looks and the unbeatable 1-star reviews that follow, I'll drink to that. Nesta just told Cassian that if you think that this training nonsense is going to result in you climbing into my bed, you're delusional. Oh my god, we will see about that. Hello everyone, this is Saturday and I'm having a really bad throat. I had ice cream like a week ago and now I'm having the after effects. Anyways, I read till chapter 12 yesterday and I made some notes to remember what I have to talk about and whatnot, so I'll do that in some time. Right now I'm having tea because we cannot live without tea, can we? No. I hope you all are doing good. I hope you guys are enjoying this book. I do want to say something, and that is that I really think that Sarah J. Maas's writing style has improved a lot. Like really, I am not feeling that feeling that I used to get when I used to read Sarah J. Maas's book. I mean, of course, the prologue was very stupid. I did not like it. I also think that Nesta is... I cannot believe this, but I know that I was saying that I hate the protagonist and that no matter what you tell me, like, you cannot redeem Nesta for me. She was not redeemable for me, but I was so wrong. I mean, she's not redeemable yet, but she's quite an interesting protagonist right now. I mean, she's way more interesting than Feyre, and I hate Feyre. And I do not like this thing that Sarah J. Maas does. Like, she would make the previous loved characters into characters that we don't like anymore, so that we have some space in our hearts to love the new characters. So I just do not like that because she has made me dislike Rhysand just now, and I hate it because I loved Rhysand. I really did. If there was one thing that was good about the whole ACoSF trilogy, it was Rhysand, my man. He's not mine anymore. I don't own him. I don't care about him. Feyre can suck his cock all she wants. I don't care. What was I saying? Yeah, I was saying that I really like Cassian. I mean, he's such a good boy. Oh my god. Every few other pages, we are reading about how Cassian feels and how hard he gets. This is definitely an adult book. I think Sarah J. Maas should only write adult books. YA is not a genre for her to write anymore. No. I realized that we hated Nesta because we were reading about her through Feyre's point of view. In book 1, I remember it was Feyre's mother who made Feyre promise that she would look after her family, but in this book we are being told again and again that Feyre's mother was more close to Nesta. Nesta was hers. But then, where was Nesta when her mother was making Feyre promise to look after her family? That is weird. The only reason that I think that I am liking Nesta right now is that I can relate to her. I can really, really relate to her stubbornness because, like, I'm really like that. That's just what my attitude is like at some times in life. And especially when I'm not emotionally fine, and that just happens to me. And Nesta is clearly not fine. Whatever happened to her when she went into that cauldron and after her dad was beheaded, and oh my god, what is this? I clearly remember that Elaine killed that stupid villain, and that it was very stupid because Elaine killing the villain, that was bullshit. And it just does not make sense that Sarah J. Maas changed the fact from Elaine killing the king to Nesta killing him. It's mentioned twice still where I've read, and yeah, the first time it's mentioned, it's in chapter 7. The line is that before Nesta had beheaded him, and they're talking about the king of Wyvern. The second time is in chapter 9, and the line is that you killed the king of Wyvern. And I just do not get why Sarah J. Maas changed this fact. I also wanted to share this moment. This was so adult. I mean, I'm gonna mention this adult word so many times because saying that this book is adult, how is it different than the YA books that she wrote? This is so not different. The only difference is that in this book she's more open, and in YA she was very dirty but in not so open way. So here it is. Nesta and Cassian were arguing. Cassian was saying they cannot even stand, and then Nesta uses her hands and she puts them on the table, and then she stands like this, and then Cassian is like, doesn't count when you use your hands to do most of the work. And then she tells him, I bet that isn't what you've been telling yourself at night. And then he says, is that what those smutty books teach you? That it's only at night? He is getting so dirty. And then he says, could be any time. Dawn's first light, or when I'm bathing, or even after a long, hard day of practice. She didn't miss the slight emphasis he put on long and hard. Why does Cassian have to do that? I mean, every other page we are already getting to know how hard he gets and what he's feeling and what he's seeing in Nesta and blah blah blah, but right here, he just gave it away. And oh, by the way, this is one thing, and it is that Nesta is talking to the house, and the house is actually listening to her. Wow. Why am I talking so excitedly about Nesta? This is not me. No. Typical SJM. She couldn't stop her toes from curling. That's what happens when you get horny. Don't care about the plot, but I do care about the plot because, of course, I'm looking forward to the smut. Guess what? I slept and I wasted my time again, and my throat is worse than before. I just made tea, added some Dushranda into it, and then I'm gonna have it. I'll try talking to you and telling all what I have to talk about because I was so excited and I slept. Anyways, I am enjoying this book a lot. I am loving it. Problem is that my youngest brother used to come in my room, and then he used to just turn the light on and off, and then the tube light fused, and I did not have enough light in my room to film. And then we have relatives at home, which is why there's always a lot of noise, so it's not giving me the opportunity to film, but I will soon. Everybody at my home left because they were invited for a dinner, and I finally have the whole house to myself so I can film and talk all the shit about the smut that I have to. Now we're gonna start talking. So in chapter 21, Rise the Feminist uses his oh so famous line. And by the way, I just love it when Nesta uses the oh so words for Rice, and it's just, I love it. It's kind of my thing. Nesta said, what choice do I have? And then Rice says, you do have a choice. You will always have a choice here. Rice is the kind of man who does not ever get tired of giving women their choice. I mean, yes, you will tell me that why, if a man doesn't give you choice, you women start complaining. Then you protest that a man does not give you a choice or the freedom to choose something for yourself. But here, Rice gives you all the choice that you could ever find in the world. Pure will and pride had kept him from spilling in his pants again. Spilling in his pants? I don't get why Sarah J. Maas uses the word spill. I hate this scenting thing. I mean, you cannot even get horny in your privacy. Like, there's privacy ends over here when you're living with high fae with high senses. Nesta is just so dirty. Nesta had made herself focus during the lesson, but as soon as she'd left them in the training ring, filthy thoughts had poured in her, with the thought of Cassian pumping into her mouth while Israel pounded into her from behind. She wants 2 men with 2 huge cocks. Like, she's not happy with just one. She wants more than one. She's thinking about it. How? I just like seeing her normal side when she is with these friends. I really like the friendship between her and Gwen and Emery. It's nice. It's good to read about. All the females have to have a massive cock. His cock was enormous, beautiful and hard, and absolutely enormous. Her mouth dried out, every plan she'd had requiring sudden reassessment. There was no way he'd fit entirely in her mouth. Perhaps no way he'd even fit in her body. Elisa said, I love the house, by the way, the weird ancient thing that drops smutty books off to Nesta. I really like the house too. I just love how the house gives her the books to read and listens to her. Kind of random, but I really like that Nesta likes to read books. And reading is something that just makes me like the character automatically. Even if I don't like them, I feel like liking them because they read. Finally, we get to know that Nesta's power is pure death. If I remember correctly, then pure death was Lorcan's power in Throne of Glass, and it's implied exactly the same way in this book. So I was actually wondering, how is it different to have a baby in your real form than from having a baby in your Illyrian form? And I just now have my answer, and it's weird. Illyrian females have a pelvis shaped specifically for children with wings to pass through. High Fae females do not, and when a child has wings, they can get stuck during labor. Just what? I'm hating Amren. She keeps talking like she's some ancient being, which she definitely is, but she talks like she's a grandma. It's annoying, and then she just keeps acting like a bitch. I mean, I love characters who are blunt and who are straightforward, but I do not like the way Amren has been written. She says, "No one has been able to create a magic sword in more than 10,000 years, so she's that old, and that is a dialect of her tongue that has not been spoken in 15,000 years. So like, she's that old. You're old. We get it. You're ancient. You love talking like a grandma. I don't give a fuck about her. I don't want her in the book. Did you still taste me days later? Did you?" Cassian loves to dirty talk. Cassian is filthy, and he keeps saying that she is obsessed with smutty books. I mean, dude, you are obsessed with smut in real life. Climax crashed upon her out of her inner muscles clenching him tight. Cassian roared. What's roared? I mean, I hate it when 𝘰𝘭𝘏 writes such words. Are they animals? Just say he's moaning. Anyways, no matter how much I complain, I love this smut. I love it. 𝘰𝘭𝘏 writes it so well, but I think this book should not have been fantasy. This book should have totally been Nesta and Cassian having pure sex. Making fun of Cassian and his big massive cock, but like, there's one thing that I really like about him, that during sex, when he was so horny, he still cared about hurting Nesta, and he did not want to do it. It's nice to see a man in his senses, especially when he's so horny, like an animal. There's this line that Rice says, he says to Cassian, "Pay Eris a visit tomorrow," and then he says to Nesta, "You go with him." Nesta's defend why, and he's like, "Because you say we're playing the game. But it's your choice." A man who gives women choice. Rice the same. He slid his tongue into her core. Okay, this is so funny. Like, 𝘰𝘭𝘏 makes my mind so dirty. Yesterday, I got a request from a guy on Goodreads, and his bio was written that he is a bookworm to the core or something like that. And I was telling Elisa, and he was telling me that's what happens when SJM ruins innocent words. Cassian is asking her, "Do you want my fingers, my tongue, or my cock, Nesta?" Honestly, I know that she wants all three of them. I officially hate Amren now because there's this line she says, "The dread trove was forged by the cauldron. Nesta possesses the cauldron's power, so anything she crafts and imbues with her power becomes a new trove. At this point, I wouldn't so much as eat a piece of bread if she toasted it." I hate Amren now, and this line was just enough to make me hate her, like, so much. I don't like the way they all keep judging Nesta. I hate everybody at this point. I am so annoyed at this point. I'm just so annoyed. This woman is writing erotic, sexy stuff. She's using the word cock and words like he spilled into her and down her throat and stuff like that. But she cannot use the word cunt or pussy. Of course, I still do not care about their romance, but I love their smut. I really do not like the way Elaine talks. She's boring. She has zero character. Elisa calls her a vegetable, and I must say that even a vegetable is more interesting than Elaine. Anyway, she's telling them about her story and how Nesta always defended her and how Nesta loves music. And when she was telling about this, it reminded me of Elaine from Throne of Glass, because Elaine loved music, and it was just nice to see her enjoy music. Those were like my favorite scenes. When Elaine says that the Duke proposed marriage the next morning, Rice choked on his wine. She was 14, and she says, "I told you, Nesta is a very good dancer." And the way Rice choked on his wine, I really liked that scene because I really hate him now, but that scene was good. Rice says, "Nesta saw fit to inform Feyre of the risk to her and the babe. Get Nesta out of this city right now before I fucking kill her. Rice can die. Okay? Rice can die choking on the wine that he was choking on. This is one of the reasons that I hate this woman's writing. Why does she have to make me hate the characters that I love? I loved Rysand so much. Now I officially hate him. There's this one scene where Nesta is crying when Cassian takes her for the hike as a punishment, and she is crying, and Cassian is being kind to her, saying her name, being close to her, telling her he's there for her, and she says, please. He's stilled. Please what? Don't touch me. Don't be kind to me. And I had tears at this point because that's just like how I am. And whenever I feel like I don't deserve something and someone is being kind to me, I just don't want them to be kind to me because I feel like I just don't deserve it. And when I read these lines, the way Nesta was crying and regretting what she did, I had tears. Stopped myself from crying. She says, I hate it. Every part of me that does these things, and yet I can't stop it. I literally cried at this point. I could not stop because I hate it too. I hated how I hurt myself and how I hurt other people sometimes, and I just cannot stop it because that thing inside me just has to get out in that way only. It only gets out in that way. I try to control it. It just does not happen, and I cried really hard in the morning while I was reading this. I cannot believe that I relate to Nesta this much. Of course, Nesta is not one of my favorite protagonists. No, there are better female characters that I have read about, and they are great protagonists, but honestly, in comparison to Feyre, Nesta is amazing. I admit, 𝘰𝘭𝘭 has improved her writing. She has improved her writing. Alyssa was telling me that she has grown and started trying hard after all the criticism that she gets, and I think I do agree with it. Feyre's books, all three of them were written in first person, and I still could not connect to Feyre, and yet here Nesta's book is written in third person, and I am very much connected to her. Like I can feel what she's feeling. Maybe the thing that I personally do prefer third person. Let me know which kind of writing you like. I'll be with you every step of the way, he whispered into her palm. Just don't lock me out. You want to walk in silence for a week? I'm fine with that, so long as you talk to me at the end of it. I want a man who tells me such things, who understands me so much, but I think these men just exist in books. It was amazing how Cassian was ready to take all of her rage, but what happened was that she was not angry. She was so angry that it started making her cry, and that is the moment that I hate myself more. That I get so angry that my anger comes out in a form of tears. I hate crying. I hate it. I want my cock to be the only thing you think about, because your pretty little cunt is the only thing that I think about. Finally, he says, cunt. I read till chapter 51, and that was all the things that I wanted to talk about, and now I'm gonna continue with chapter 52, and then we'll talk. That's it. To everyone who has made it this far, thanks a lot. I finished the book and I did not film afterwards, as I told you before, and so I marked a few things that I wanted to talk about, which I will now, so just a second. Yeah, so I forgot to mention, but whenever I read about Nesta liking music, and whenever I read about her, how she got lost in it and enjoyed it, it reminded me a lot about Aelin from Throne of Glass, because, no spoilers, she also liked music a lot, and the way Rowan helped her, it was just the very same, but it was not the same in a bad way, because it's not like 𝘰𝘭𝘭 copied it exactly from Rowan and Aelin to like Cassian and Nesta. It's very different, but it's written in the now I don't know what to say. I mean, it's not the same, but it's still somehow the same and reminds me of that. I love the way Cassian is always there for Nesta. Of course, many things are very not real, because for those of you who have not read the Shadowhunter Chronicles, no spoilers, but There's this immortal guy who has a lot of lovers in all of his life for all the years that he has lived. But here in ACoSF books, guys are 500 years old, but they have never loved anyone. Of course, you do not love anyone except your mate. Here it is. Nesta names the sword 𝘮𝘩𝘢𝘴 or 𝘮𝘪𝘢𝘴. Just say it however you want, but then she says it's from the old language. The old language, again, is like, it reminds me of Throne of Glass, and I do not know, but I just have a very strong feeling that 𝘬𝘑𝘦 is entertaining ideas, like connecting the two worlds, the world of Prythian to the world of Terrasen, because in Terrasen there was this concept of portals between worlds, and here in ACoSF, in A Court of Silver Flames, 𝘬𝘑𝘦 has introduced the concept of traveling between worlds as well, because there's this harp you can play and just travel through gates and just open gates between worlds. Yeah, that's the thing. So I don't know, I just have a really strong feeling that she's gonna entertain that idea, and that if she does not have that idea in her head, then I do not know where all of this is going, because I don't know. I really don't know. There's still Vasa and her curse, and who gives a fuck about it? But I think that in the next books, somehow 𝘬𝘑𝘦 is gonna revolve the plot around something, and it's gonna be useless because all we're here for is smut. And 𝘬𝘑𝘦 is getting better and better at it, especially since she's started marketing her books as adult. She has all the freedom to write. You know, there's this scene that I'm gonna read out. It's about Aelin. Yeah, Aelin in black was ridiculous. Yes, she was beautiful, but the color of her long-sleeved, modest gown leached the brightness from her face. It wore her rather than the other way around. ... So Elaine had let her golden brown hair down tonight and pinned it back with twin combs of pearl. He'd never once in the 2 years he'd known her found Elaine to be plain, but wearing black, no matter how much she claimed to be part of this court, it sucked the life from her. So from here, I'm gonna tell you something that I have been thinking about, and that is that I do not want Aelin to be like with Lucian, because anyways, because there has been no chemistry between them just because they're mates. I don't know, it just does not seem like a thing to me, and I do not want Elaine to be shipped with Asriel, because Asriel is definitely better, and I do not like this thing of all the 3 bad boys being with all the 3 ACoSF sisters. I do not want that, but I'm not gonna stay on this thing because 𝘬𝘑𝘦 can do anything. But then there's this thing that Aelin could be with Tamlin. Nesta said before, I do not know if I mentioned this before or not, but Nesta said that the spring court was for someone like Elaine, because Elaine loves flowers and everything. And Tamlin has gone all mad in his beast form. He's just roaming around like a wild beast, and then I do not know, maybe he's waiting for another beauty and Elaine is going to be that beauty. Here goes an unpopular opinion. I hate Tamlin just like the others, but I just really think that he is better than Feyre, and Feyre, who everyone loves, I do not think that she deserves all that love. She's just ridiculous, and I think that Tamlin is way better than her, and I would definitely read a book on Tamlin if it's not with Elaine. I want Tamlin to be, redeemed. I just think that he deserves that much, and I just know, after reading this book and liking Nesta, I know that 𝘬𝘑𝘦 has the potential to make me like Tamlin if she just wishes to do it. So I do not know, but I think that, yeah, I would like a book on Tamlin. Okay, enough with the Tamlin talk. I read this scene, and I must tell you that I read the first 3 ACoSF books, but I did not read the novella because I just could not stomach reading all of that stuff, and 𝘬𝘑𝘦's writing was just intolerable for me, so I skipped it. And finally, when I decided to pick another ACoSF book after a long while, I picked this book and I read this scene. He gives her that beautiful gift of music. I do not know what that's called, symphonia, I think. Just ignore if I'm wrong, but I really loved it. I really loved that scene. It was so intimate and it was beautiful. This blood right scene. This is the last scene that I'm gonna talk about, because after that everything gets boring. All the spotlight from Nesta and Cassian shifts from them to Feyre and Rhysand, and I don't care about them. I loved Rhysand. I hate him now. I liked Mor. I don't care about her now. But okay, maybe she would get some good time in other books and I would start to like her again. Right now, I do not feel anything about Mor. Amren, kill her. Kill this bitch. Kill her, kill her, kill her. And who else? Elaine. I do not care. Azriel, I ship him with Gwen. I want him to be with Gwen. I don't know why I said it that way, but I want him to be with Gwen, okay? Here it is on the blood rice scene. And I read about Nesta saying that Gwen's position has not changed, that she is in the same spot from the time that she has been noticing. I thought at first that someone has gotten her, people have been keeping her, or the men have been raping her. I went into that dark zone, and then immediately this idea popped into my head that no, Gwen got really good at fighting. She must have kicked their asses. She must have waited in that spot, let them come and let me kill them. So here it is. That line got proved, and I was so happy when I read this. To hell with witching Rhaenyra. She'd spend the rest of the week here killing them all slowly. That's badass. Israel deserves her, not Elaine. I am telling you again and again. So that's all, everybody. I just did not really care about Feyre or her pregnancy or her baby or Rhysand kneeling in front of Nesta and telling her thank you or whatever he did. But the one thing that I hate about this book is I really hate that Nesta gave up her powers. Why can I not read a book where the protagonist stays with their power, gets stronger with their power, like trains more and more and knows how to use it and be better at it and how to make, you know what I mean? It frustrated me so much. The end was horrible. And anyways, I was hoping that at least someone gets together and that they are not mates, but no, Nesta and Cassian had to be mates, and for some reason I hate it but still love it for them. And I really hope, I really hope that Elaine does not get set up with Ace or Tamlin. I wish that she stays single, dies single, and if she gets to be with someone else who is not her mate, maybe Ace, maybe Tamlin, maybe someone else. Oh, what if it's Yrys? That guy has some potential to be in the other books. Because I really think that there could be more to Yrys in the other books. I was getting distracted. If Elaine does not get to be with her mate, then it's probably Sergemas showing us that not all mates get to be together. Some just love someone else. That was all for this vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I do not know how many times I have even said this, but so this was a vlog on me hating Nesta, then telling you I like her, telling you that I relate to her, that I cried for her, and that now she's my favorite character of all the ACoSF books. My friends have decided to reread the previous books so that they can love Rhysand once again, but honestly, after reading this book, I do not think that I have it in me to love Rhysand again, no matter how much I do it. And I just cannot go through those torturing books. I just can't. So I am having exams. Today was my third exam and I have 3 more left. I'm desperately waiting for my copy of Jane of Iron, and I'm gonna reread the stories from the Ghost of the Shadow Market and the Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy that connect to the Last Hours. I am gonna reread the Penultimate Hours. I'm gonna reread Chain of Gold and then Chain of Iron. So if anyone wants to join me, you can definitely text me, because it's always fun reading with other people. So see you then. Take care and goodbye. And I do not want Elaine